Well, basically, my signal that I was sending from my mobile was not reaching my desktop. So I don't know if you realize it, but the way that I do my mobile streams is it's kind of like a man-in-the-middle approach, where instead of going directly from the mobile device to Twitch, I go back to my home base or my office first, where it arrives at the PC where the OBS is running, and then that mobile feed gets mixed in with all the overlays and all the effects. That's why I'm able to do the same effects on mobile as I can on desktop, because they're all literally being broadcast from the same PC at my home. So it works great for a lot of things, but it's bad in that there's lag. There's always lag because it takes time for the mobile signal to arrive there, and the effects that are happening, like sound effects and things, are happening locally at that home base. So it's different than the sounds that are happening here. So like if I wanted to react to a song that's playing, it doesn't work because I'm 7 to 9 seconds out of sync with it. So I have to be careful. And anyway, that's a whole nother tangent. But yeah, basically that signal was not getting across. And I think maybe it was something in the encoder settings, because I have to basically point to an external IP, which then gets port forwarded to an internal IP where my streaming PC is. So I basically just went through all the connections, checked all the IPs, checked the cables, and all of a sudden everything was just working. So honestly, I don't really know what was broken last night, but eventually it got fixed, and then everything's been working fine again. So yeah, sometimes it's a little frustrating trying to figure stuff out when it just isn't working. So yeah, so anyway, I'm just kind of doing some sound checks, doing some media tests, making sure that's working. I have some lighting that I use at home, and I can even trigger those lights remotely, you know, as an effect, like where you can see it in the stream. For example, if you want to see. So right there, when I triggered that effect by turning the lights red, and I activated 2 webcams at the home base, you can actually see the PC that's receiving the signal. And so you can actually see the other copy of the video at that location where it's being received and being mixed with other effects and things. That's why I kind of like that remote light command, because I can see the PC and see that everything is working correctly. So yes, exactly. I think you understand. You know, I've tried to explain this to so many people, but I think a lot of people don't really get it. They always say, "Oh, I understand what you're doing," but I'm like, "Do you understand?" Because it doesn't sound like you fully get it. But I think you do. I think based on what you just said, I think you get it. Yeah, basically this mobile signal is getting relayed back to another desktop at the home base, where all the chat commands that do things are happening in an overlay, like scenes that are overlaid with it, and then that complete signal is what goes out to Twitch. So that's how it works, yeah. I'm actually using a GoPro, so I have a pretty cool setup. If you Google a guy named Spreeezy, Spreeezy, he is the guy in Czechoslovakia that does biking streams, and he was the one that put out a YouTube video explaining how to build a budget backpack, because I've always wanted to do the live view, but it's $1,000 plus the expensive data costs associated with the data required to go with that, and I never wanted to spend that much. But this guy showed a way how to buy a device, an encoder that does all the hard work for like $250, I think, and then you have your own router, which I have a mobile router for other reasons that I could use. And so basically with 3 devices, a GoPro, an encoder, and the router, you can basically build your own kind of backpack that's like a live view, but not as fancy, not with all the same features like multiple SIM cards and stuff. So that's my setup, and basically I use a big brick, a big power bank to power all 3 devices, to keep the GoPro charged, to keep the encoder going, to keep the router charged. So yeah, that's my backpack, and I I'm pretty proud of it. It took me a while to get it set up and working correctly, but yeah, I'm not using a phone. I'm not using a cell phone. That's what a lot of mobile streamers do. They use the cell phone, but there's a lot of limitations to that. There's some benefits to using the phone because when you play like sounds and TTS from the phone, everything is in sync, and like I can react to it, you can react to it, it's all in sync. By me doing it this way, there is a sync and a lag issue that I have to account for, but there are so many benefits of doing it this way, and everything I build using StreamerBot and other tools, I can use in both desktop and mobile in the same way, so it's kind of nice. So, yeah. Yeah, I could try to show you. It's a little tricky right now, and actually, I have, on the network side, I have two ways of doing the network. I used to only use a mobile router, which requires cell network, but in some cases, the cell network is really bad. Like here, for example, at this place, the cell network was terrible. I tried and didn't work. So I have another device that I use that's basically a Wi-Fi device that allows me to create a capture portal. And what that means is, with that one device, I can create a connection to the Wi-Fi that's here, which is really good and fast, by the way, super fast Wi-Fi. And then I can kind of allow all my other devices to connect to that portal. So it looks like one thing is connected, but actually three things are going through it, so I get the benefit of the fast Wi-Fi being shared to all the devices. I can kind of show you a little bit of what my setup looks like by moving this camera around. So basically what I see is I see a video copy of the stream like on my phone, and then I also have chat that I can see like down here, and then that's how I'm kind of like controlling it and, you know, typing in commands and stuff. So that's my way of monitoring the stream. And then over here in my backpack, this is where I'm using a Wi-Fi device. I don't know if you can tell, but that's what's connected to the Wi-Fi right there. And then I have like a little encoder in there. So it's probably hard to see because it's kind of dark. But yeah, that's a little bit of it. So yeah, so I just practiced some developing code and stuff like that and try